Hi, my name is Savannah Watkins, and today I will be talking about women in police. Women in law enforcement has been an issue over time, but is now being considered more important by many different police agencies. The history of female officers dates back over 100 years ago, and even then women were trying to become part of a male-dominated workplace. There are many benefits that women offer when they are hired as an officer. However, there are some challenges that women face in the police workforce once they put on the uniform. Including women on the force could aid current police departments in criminal apprehension, undercover operations, and solving cases, but female inclusion would also change the culture and the policies of law enforcement. In this presentation, I will be talking about the history of policewomen, reasons why women are needed in police, the challenges that are faced when on the job, the 30 by 30 initiative program, and the conclusion as well as references. The history of female police officers goes back to the late 19th century. Back then, women were mostly volunteers, not sworn officers. Female pioneers would work mostly with other women and children, such as guarding female prisoners. Women that were sworn officers were usually involved with domestic cases, child delinquency, and had limited responsibilities. Higher ranks were practically impossible for women to achieve and are still hard to get nowadays. The first female officer in the United States was Maria Owens in 1889. Maria used to work in a healthcare department before she was appointed as an officer. Georgia Ann Robinson was the first African American officer in 1919. For police chiefs, Penny Harrington was the first female chief in Portland, Oregon in 1985. Over time, females have increased little by little in law enforcement, but the statistics are still considered low for females in police. Women make up about 12% in law enforcement in the United States, as well as 3% in police leadership. Only around 7% of women are sworn state troopers in this country. This was a slight increase from back in 2000 when it was only 6%. According to an article by Lindsay Van Ness, there seems to be a different type of policing that is needed in communities, one more with empathy and communication. In another article, it mentions that Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom have nearly twice the percentage of policewomen that the United States has. This means that these other countries do not necessarily have problems with allowing females to join law enforcement if they decide they want to. However, in the United States, women have to go through so many obstacles and challenges in order to be an officer and uphold the law. This article also mentioned that women are also motivated to serve their communities. This could explain how Neighborhood Watch began, because some women wanted to help decrease crime. There are many reasons why more women should consider joining law enforcement. Female officers typically have better outcomes when it comes to interacting with victims, especially victims of sexual assault or any sexual crimes. Victims generally will want to talk to a woman if they are being interviewed for a case. This makes the survivors feel more comfortable and feel less judged than if they were talking to a male officer. Women also tend to have a positive impact on the community as well as in the departments. To the public, female officers are seen as more compassionate, honest, and approachable. Women also seem more skilled at assessing police needs within a community. Females in law enforcement are sued less frequently, make fewer arrests, and usually do not use violent force than male officers do. Females are also successful at diffusing violent or aggressive behavior, and also tend to have a calming effect on their male partners. With all these benefits comes challenges when applying to become an officer. Law enforcement is seen as a male-dominated workforce, so it is not easy for women to break that stereotype. Because police is seen as a man's job, statistically that is why there is more men than women in the police force. The physical training can depress applicants. 15 push-ups are required at the beginning, then an officer must do 23 in order to complete the training. Promotions are hard to get, and most women do not generally try for the promotions because it requires more work hours. There is also a lack of mentors that affect female officers when it comes to rank and promotions, providing little support for those women who do wish to achieve higher on the leadership ladder. For most female officers, the most difficult part of the job is balancing kids and family as well as being on call 24/7. At the Madison Police Department in Wisconsin, there are breastfeeding rooms for female officers with babies. Even with special accommodations, women are easily exhausted with trying to juggle shifts, kids, and spouses on a daily basis. Officers that are pregnant are usually given a task within the station once they reach around 14 weeks. Although this is done to protect both the mother and the baby, it can sometimes be frustrating to the officer, and she may feel it is more of a demotion. Confidence is key as a female officer, and this may decrease drastically with pregnancy hormones, perceived judgment by her peers, or just plain tiredness from trying to be everything for everyone. There is also criticism against women in law enforcement, as well as sexism patterns and harassment. Some citizens may believe that women should not be involved in police work. Others may taunt female officers by catcalling or calling them different names. This way of teasing could also be used within the police station. New female officers may be called inappropriate names by their male colleagues just to discourage them or make them feel uncomfortable. This also happens to females that are in the military. Women on the force may also suffer from mental issues such as burnout or PTSD that can affect women in law enforcement. Mental health issues such as post-traumatic stress disorder and burnout can really have an adverse effect on female officers. Both have symptoms of intense emotions that can lead to emotional exhaustion. Eventually, this can put an officer in physical, mental, or professional danger, and by then the officer will just want to quit because they will have little to no motivation at all. Another reason women may not want to enlist is just because they either have no interest or are scared because of what an officer's job description entails. Officers see and are part of traumatic events on a daily basis, and almost all of it is extremely scary and stressful. Police discretion can be difficult and overwhelming for some officers because if they make the wrong decision, someone's life is at stake. The stress of this job can get the best of most officers, and it is worse for officers of higher rank because they rarely see the symptoms of burnout or post-traumatic stress disorder until it is almost too late. The labeling of women is another reason why there are fewer female applications to become part of the law enforcement. According to an article by Yvonne Roman, old stereotypes create barriers for present and future female officers. One classic cliché is that girls should stick to girly things or that girls are seen as weak and emotional. Another stereotype is seen in the Disney movie Zootopia. Once Judy Hopps graduates at the top of her class, ZPD assigns her the position of a meter maid due to her size. Based on the outward appearance of women, other officers may consider female counterparts as weak or incapable of facing the challenges that one deals with every day. While women do tend to show emotions more often, it does not make them weak. In Special Victims Unit, a female officer is generally brought in to help calm the victims down. Police departments use the mother factor to better help those that have been attacked. In fact, empathy is what communities and victims of crime like most about female officers. The victims feel like they are understood and are more comfortable with a women officer rather than a male officer who may or may not believe their perspective. When hiring women as officers, a police department may see if they have military background. While most agencies or different branches of law enforcement strongly recommend that any individual applicant have an education degree, they will also take military background as well. The reason why most agencies recommend education is because it helps with promotions. Many officers do have this type of background, and since the 9/11 attack in 2001, police are now trained similar to the military. Because the military is also a male-dominated field, police recruiters look for military background in female applicants due to the low representation of women in the military forces. In an effort to increase the statistics, the Madison Police Department in Wisconsin has come up with a program called the 30 by 30 Initiative. This program wants to increase the percentage of women in police and in hoping to increase it by 30% in the year of 2030. The goal of this program is to transform police departments by looking at its culture and policies and changing it to reflect the communities. One of the new things that this program is doing is focusing on improvement on rank by using inclusive language such as patrol officer instead of patrolman. Around 200 policies have agreed to participate in this program due to George Floyd's death and the protests that followed afterwards. In conclusion, women should be allowed to join law enforcement without all of the challenges that they have to face. The all-day hours is a pain and can get the best of any officer, but the stereotyping and sexism towards women should stop. Female officers could help in resolving some of the issues between communities and police, as well as helping decrease crime rates and connecting with the community. Mark Riley once said, "I think it's important and beneficial to have people from all walks of life, females, males, different ethnic groups, and religions. You never know what you're going to come into contact with on the side of the road." Diversity is a great tool to bring communities together, and a greater inclusion of women in police agencies may be just what this country needs to bring back a little faith in those that walk the thin blue line. Thank you. Are there any questions?